So picture this. I'm enjoying my well-deserved PTO, finally taking a break from the chaos of work. Little did I know, while I was off recovering from surgery, my company decided to overhaul our entire process for supplying customers with expensive consumables. And guess what? They didn't bother to consult my team, the very people who had been handling about 65% of this process for years. When I returned, I was greeted not by a warm welcome back, but by a cold, impersonal system, a standardized form divided into 4 sections, one for me, one for sales, one for logistics, and one for the territory assistants and managers. Gone were the days of meaningful communication, of knowing my customers personally. Now, all I was allowed to do was fill in how many boxes to supply. Just think about that for a moment. I used to manage critical details, who the customer was, where the order was going, how much it would cost. Now, all of that was out of my hands. And here's where it gets frustrating. Customer details on these forms were often wrong. I used to fix these errors proactively, but now I was powerless. My emails started to bounce back like a bad joke. When I raised my concerns, the response was always the same: follow the form. So I did. I dutifully completed my section, sent it off to the designated address, and moved on. But nothing happened. Months passed, and then one day, I received a frantic call from a customer who was running critically low on supplies. I escalated the issue to my manager, but by then, I had already submitted 24 forms without any feedback or visible results. 24. Can you imagine the frustration? Fast forward to me recovering from surgery again, and I receive an email asking for the same data I used to provide under the old system. At this point, I had a decision to make. I could dive back into my old emails and records to find the information they needed, but I chose not to respond. Why? Because that information had become scattered and irrelevant to my role. I was strictly following the new protocol, and it was no longer my responsibility. Ironically, the very process they implemented to reduce costs and simplify operations left 3 department heads confused, unable to proceed. They didn't know the customers' names, the product details. There are 197 different products, mind you, or even the order history. All they had were the numbers of boxes I had submitted. The system they relied on for everything was crumbling because it lacked accurate data input, and since I was following their strict instructions, that data was no longer being entered. In short, the new process stripped away the practical knowledge and collaboration that once made the system work. It became inefficient, confusing, and ultimately counterproductive. So here I am, a front-row spectator to the chaos that ensued from a decision made without a single consultation with the people who were actually involved. I mean, how does one department think they can run a system without considering the input of those who understand it best? Pause for reflection. It's funny how the best intentions can lead to the worst outcomes, isn't it? So what do you think? Have you ever found yourself in a situation like this, where a new process made things worse instead of better? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below.